So we got a special delivery from Titan Motorsports today. This has been a long-awaited package. See if you can guess what it might be, or I guess the title of this video probably gives it away. But yeah, we ordered the dart block for the 2J like January 1st. 7 months later, it's here, along with a bunch of other parts, but that's not as fun. This is the one that matters. Oh yeah. That's so sick. If you'll notice that one of the main differences with this block versus, you know, the standard 2J blocks is these have 4-bolt billet main caps, which if you're going for 1,000 horsepower or more, you definitely have to upgrade to a billet cap, but then you have all the machining that goes with it. It ends up being a costly endeavor. And if you don't have any machine shops that are comfortable doing that in your area, you have to ship it away, get that done, ship it back. And basically, by the time I accounted for all the shipping costs and machining, it was just worth it to just buy this block. It's definitely heavier than the factory block, but it's also way, way stronger. So the plans for this block is to use the stock crank. We're going to be using Manley H-Tough rod and their piston as well. It's going to be a pretty basic internal build, nothing too crazy there. ARP 625 factory size studs. For the head, we're keeping it as a pretty standard 2J head build, nothing too wild here. We're filling it with solid components from 2 solid companies, both Manley and Kelford. The valves are going to be their stainless race valve in factory size with their 100-pound springs with titanium retainers. The rest of it will all be Kelford, from their D-cam up to their DLC coated buckets, bronze valve guides, and their cam gears as well. We're also going to be doing a light port on this thing, do a little bit of gasket matching where it makes sense, just on the intake side. And then the block itself is rated to 2,500 horsepower, which is a lot. We're just going to be shooting for about 1,200 at the wheels or so. Be happy with, you know, 1,100 too, but 12's the goal, which is about 1,300, 1,350 at the crank. So we're well within the block's limits. We just want a really reliable setup this time around. This will be my first time doing a bottom end assembly. I've done a head before, but I've never done a bottom end. It seems pretty straightforward. I've acquired all the tools to do it now and done all the research, so should be fun. We'll find out if it holds up, but it should. We're also gonna powder coat this block before we send it off for machining. It's just raw right now and we wanna make it pretty sweet looking, so why not? You're not actually filming, are you? Okay, restart then. All right, so time to play around with the block. We gotta prep this thing for powder, so to do that, we need to take out the main cap and just make sure that it's essentially just the block so that we can mask everything correctly and clean it up, make sure there's no oils and whatnot. Well, let's get at her. Broke them all loose, now I'll zip them off. Before we take out the caps, I'll take the studs out. There, all the washers are out now, all the bolts. Now we'll pop the caps off. So we got the slide hammer now, made a little adapter to put an M8 bolt in there, and you can use the slide hammer to pop out the caps. Carefully. You don't want to damage anything, but they come out pretty easy. There. Gotta be super careful. Don't want to drop this. Now that we've got all the main caps out, we're going to clean up any of the residual oil that's just blatantly chilling in here, spray out all of the bolt holes, clean up any of the grease or assembly lube so that it doesn't bake into a hard crystally crust. And then we will run it through the oven for maybe an hour once it gets up to temp, just to burn off any of the oils and contaminants that are on there. And then we'll start moving it through the rest of our prep process. See, like all this stuff, trying to wipe off that. Got to make sure they're all nice and clean. After machining and after coating and before assembly, we'll also chase all of the threads just to make damn sure that everything's mint. Into the oven now, get it to temp, allow it to burn off the oils within. Castings are also porous, so it'll trap oil and contaminants. And we don't want any of that, so that we get a super mint finish. Block's been in the oven for, I don't know, something like 3.5 hours now. That should be enough to have burned off the oils. Now we'll pull it out and let it cool and start the rest of the stuff tomorrow. So steels change to kind of like a golden color like you see here once they reach around 400 degrees, 415, somewhere in there, which is roughly the cure temperature for most powders, 400 Fahrenheit. It actually looks kind of sick like that. All right, we're back here today. So now we're masking this thing. This is our special high temp tape that can withstand oven temperatures, and we're gonna use it to protect it for blasting as well. I give up, fuck it.
You'd never make it as a vinyl wrapper?
You think so? Looks mint. Oof. This is a nice side. All right, now we'll move on to the other areas. All the holes are all plugged up now so that no media gets inside the block. This thing will be cleaned very thoroughly after machining anyways, but it's always the best practice to make sure you don't get any sand in there. Pretty good. Good to go. Sparkly. This one freeze plug we couldn't mask the way it's recessed, so we're vacuuming away the powder. All about the little things. This way everything will seal exactly how it should. Now she goes in the oven and then it just gets a partial cure right now. Then we add the clear coat, then it'll get the full cure. So the base coat here has reached its partial cure level. Now we'll let it cool and then we'll toss on some clear coat. So this is it as the base coat without the clear, and now the clear is going on. Don't forget the ground. Sparkly. Still has to go back in and touch up some spots, but looks sick. Clear coat's on. Now it goes in for the final cure. Probably take about an hour to get up to temperature, and then it'll bake for about 15 minutes or so. She's done cooking. I'm pumped to see this thing. It's nothing crazy, just a nice silver, but something nice about a real nice, crispy, clean color. Oh yeah, look at that. That's mint. All right, let's unmask this. Kind of looks sick bronze, actually. So we're all finished powder coating our 2JZ block from Dart now. It turned out really good, really happy with it. It's a really bright metallic silver. Wanted to keep it subtle so that the other components would really pop on it. A cool colored block would be fun, but didn't want it to be too wild. This hits the mark perfectly. Now we're gonna send it off to the machine shop, get all the machining done, get everything verified, make sure it's all mint and ready for assembly. We like to do the powder work before it heads to the machine shop because, you know, just to make sure that there's no chance that anything moved slightly during the heating and cooling process. The block does see a higher temperature during the coating process than it does during operation. This is just for peace of mind to make sure, you know, nothing moves a few thou, especially on a new block like this where most things are undersized still. The machine shop can clean that up without any issue whatsoever.